It didn't look like they laid him like that. For her
So what happened was, this is where they found Winston, and the police said that they had nothing to do with it. But they also said that he jumped over this fence and fell down here. So which one is it? He couldn't do both. He was running from the police, probably down this ravine right here, this dry ravine. But yeah, it ain't right. People from this house in the background said the police had him by 1:30 in the morning, right here at Colton and Wambash. Had him right here, was checking his pockets, going through, had him handcuffed. He was alive. He had been running. He probably was out of breath. He suffered from asthma. But at 6 in the morning, the neighbors said they came out here and found him right here by the rock. And the police said he must have died from asthma. And that's what the coroner's report said. But he got bruises. He's bruised up. So how could that happen? How could he be bruised up and die from asthma when he got bruises on his wrist? His shoulder was what they say, the shoulder was dislocated, like somebody handcuffed him and probably dislocated his shoulder. Sad day.
We gotta find him. Congratulations.
Do you mind if I interview you real quick? Do me a favor. Tell me your name.
Hi, my name is Erica Haddix.
And you are the sister of?
Yes, I'm the oldest sister of Winston Maurice Walter Lee Taylor.
And listen, so that night, December 28th, there was a whole bunch of stories that went first. The first story I heard, I can't tell you what you heard. First story I heard was that they was in pursuit of someone driving a car, and they say Winston jumped out and ran, and the police was trying to find him, and then they say that he fell over the fence, and he died because he fell over the fence.
Correct.
But then, if I heard correctly, they started calling family members and saying what was wrong with him, and somebody said, well, he had asthma. So then they switched it and said, oh, he had asthma.
Correct.
And then his body was placed by that rock that's in our background.
Yes.
So, all right, I didn't mean to take the interview. Tell me, what was it that you guys were told by the police?
December 28th, they called and announced that Winston was deceased. So the first story they told us that Winston was in pursuit by the police. And while in pursuit, he ran and jumped over a gate and fell and slipped in a slippery slope. And he was found in a canal. So that was the story that we had. And days later, after they spoke with one of Winston's friends, who they got, they were asking around because they couldn't find who Winston was. So when Winston's friend called to looking around for him and identified him, he told them that Winston had asthma. So once they found out that Winston had asthma and that slippery slope story wasn't going to go by, they changed it to asthma. And that's how we kind of believed it, because Winston had asthma. And but at the funeral, once we seen his body and seen the bruises and seen that he was bleeding, and then just put the picture together, seen the handcuff marks and everything abused on his body, because I seen him the night before and we took pictures the day before, I noticed that he's been beaten and murdered.
All right, and the police never admitted to it. So here's the last thing. So first he was in pursuit, but then, if I'm not mistaken, the man who lives next door to the other people is the one who found the body.
Okay, so it's two neighbors that live down the street. One of them is a female. She the one who showed us where Winston laid before we seen this picture. So she came and showed us that Winston was found right here because her brother seen the police jacking Winston up at 3 o'clock in the morning on the wall right here across the street.
Right.
That's what they told we came back again, once we realized the police murdered him, the lady was not here, and the guy said that he didn't say that story. He switched his story because he didn't want to go against the police.
Right.
But the older guy that lived next door to him admits to it, and he says he's willing to testify because the police did touch him, and it's a cover-up. They're trying to cover it up, and he said it always happened, and it's not the first time it happened out here.
Right. So what we want right now is just justice for Winton.
Justice for Winston.
Winston, yes indeed.
Murdered, Redlands, California.
Right. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, too.
All right, back at it. What'd you say now?
So after the funeral, once I realized that Winston was murdered, they called back with the autopsy. Unfortunately, they called back with the autopsy, and then I told the caller, he was murdered. I feel like the police caught him. I didn't say that the police murdered him, but maybe he was in cuffs when he died, and they got scared. They let him go. She just started going off. He wasn't even in pursuit. He wasn't even. I said no, he was. He was in pursuit. No, he wasn't. Well, it was a rock right there. Then she said, well, it was a rock right there. I'm like, but you said asthma. So what does a rock got to do with asthma? What is a rock? They changed the story 3 times and then argued me down. And then once I realized that it was a cover-up, I just closed my mouth and I just seek justice now.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you.